Hello, beautiful people. Hope everybody's had a great week. I want to give you guys a big shout out, say thank you very much for listening and watching, paying attention. I really appreciate your feedback and support. You guys are awesome. So thank you very much. Let's get down to business. I got some notes here, and if we've got time, I'm going to try to get to three topics. One of them is WIIFM, the presidential debate, and why I think Hallmark movies are pornography for women. So we'll try to get to all those. I want to start off with WIIFM. So somebody taught me this concept a couple years ago, and it still rings true today, and I've been seeing it a lot in my day-to-day life. And I'm guilty of this too. I think this is just a human nature thing. We're all guilty of this, but just a quick explanation of what WIIFM is. WIIFM is everybody's favorite radio station, and those call letters stand for What's in It For Me. So WIIFM, What's in It For Me. And after learning this and knowing this, I start to pick up these situations and circumstances where I'm being extremely selfish, where I'm not putting my best foot forward, or I'm thinking about myself whenever something's going on, and it helps bring me back down to earth and not be thinking of myself in everyday life, everyday transactions, or everyday relationships, of not thinking about what's in this for me, whether it's something simple like meeting somebody new, or a business transaction, or in life, or in friendships or relationships. So it helps me think outside of myself. If I think about this radio station, WIIFM, and the way it's explained is, and sort of as a proof that this is true or this is real, and this has been around a long time. So the example is, if you give somebody a yearbook of the year they graduated, and this kind of dates how old this idea is if you give somebody a yearbook, the year they graduated, what page are they going to turn to? And of course, they're going to turn to the page that they're on, because their primary concern is, what did they look like, or whatever the case is. But they're going to turn to their page. And today, yearbooks aren't really around like they used to be, but social media is kind of the king now. So, if somebody goes on social media, what's the first thing that they do? What's the first thing you do? What's the first thing I do? We always go to our page, or our profile, or whatever the case is, and we look to see who's paying attention to us, what kind of likes we have, what kind of follows we have, how many followers, all those kind of things. So that's your primary concern is, what's in it for you. Whenever you get on social media, the first thing you do, you don't go look at somebody else's stuff right off the bat. You may after you've checked your own inbox, but the first thing you do is you go see what's in it for you. How many people are paying attention to you, watching, listening, liking, loving, sharing, all those kind of things. That's how we're trained. That's how our brains work. And kind of a side note on this, one thing that also helped me, and this is probably the goofiest thing in the world, but this is something that you may be able to relate to also, is like I said, I'm a very selfish person. People that know me know I'm selfish. I think about myself all the time, and I do think about what's in it for me. And I always try to get a little bit more, and knowing that, I've gotten better over time, where I try to give more than I get. Because everything I've ever given, I've gotten way more in return anyway. So it's just that working that muscle is really the main thing, is learning how to give, because you will get in return. So giving to other people, giving 100% at work, giving 100% your relationships, friendships, all those things. Giving will help you receive in the long run, and learning that really helped me. And learning the WIIFM helped me see that. But also, like I said, this is kind of a goofy thing, but another thing that sort of really helped me start seeing the world outside of myself, because like I said, I'm just a selfish person. I don't have to, but I do think about myself. I've been single most of my life. I've never been married. I don't have kids. I don't have other people to put first. So oddly enough, one of the things that helped me think outside of myself was when I got a dog. And I know that sounds silly, but the truth is, like, that was the first time in my life that I had to think outside of myself. Up until that point in my life, I was the only thing that mattered. I didn't have a curfew. I didn't have to be anywhere at any particular time to do any particular thing. I could literally just go anywhere at any time and do whatever I wanted. And then once I got this dog then became my responsibility, and it was a responsibility that I took serious, because this creature, this dog, depended on me for survival. depended on me for food and water and going to the bathroom and doctor visits and bath time and all that. Like it was the first step in a long process of me getting to the point now where I feel like most of the time I'm thinking about other people first. And I've done it for so long in being in business that sometimes I forget that, so many people have to come before me that now I sort of put myself on the back burner so much that I neglect myself in a way that I probably shouldn't also. But that's not a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week thing. That's in increments. I'm still a selfish person. I still have I'm still wired and tuned to WIIFM. I still think about my own needs and wants and desires and dreams and goals. Like those things are all still very important to me, but that's not 100% of my lifestyle now. I do put a lot of people first and a lot of things first and a lot of organizations before myself, before my free time or downtime, or whether it's monetary or financial or anything like that. I put a lot of things before I put myself, and that to me, I guess, is just a sign of growing up or being mature. And a lot of people grow up, at a much younger age than I did. I started growing up and maturing very late because I didn't have responsibilities. A lot of people have kids really young, or they get married young, or they join the military and get deployed or something like that. A lot of people are forced to grow up at a very young age, and I wasn't in that situation. I wanted to be a kid as long as I could possibly be a kid, and I didn't want to grow up. I wanted to be a Toys R Us kid as long as I could. But like I said, once I started thinking outside of myself, it was a very long, slow process to finally get to the point where most of the time I put other people's needs first, or I at least try. I'm considering it, because before it never even entered my mind that other people have needs. It never entered my mind that putting somebody else's needs first would actually benefit other people and benefit me in the long run. I never thought of it that way. And like I said, it's not good to do it to your own physical detriment. Like, you don't need to be unhealthy. And a lot of people will put other people first to their own detriment, and they'll hurt themselves mentally, physically. They'll be in relationships or friendships that they shouldn't be in because they're trying to satisfy another person or be codependent to that person. Another person is, hurting them, mentally or physically, and that's obviously really bad. So there's a balance to it. Putting people first is very important. Putting other people's needs before your own is very important. Giving is very important. But yeah, just walking that fine line and paying attention to that gray area where there is, you can actually hurt yourself by giving too much and putting other people's needs before your own. But when I think about WIIFM, this, for some reason here recently, this has been coming into my my view a lot, and I'm going to tie this into what I was saying earlier about how I think Hallmark movies is pornography for women. Is that I feel like a lot of things online and on the internet, pages, content, reels, so much of the stuff that we see, whether it's on television, social media, all these things, so much of it's staged, so much of it's a skit. It feels like nothing is real out there. Even reality television isn't real. It's scripted. There's producers. They stage so much of this stuff, and it may not necessarily have a word for word script, but they put people in situations and just sort of let things happen. But it's scripted. And when I'm on social media, that's what I feel like. I feel like so much of the stuff that's on there is artificial and fake and a skit and not genuine or authentic. It's all put together for clicks or views or whatever the case is. So to me, when I'm on social media, it just drives me crazy that there's just so little authenticity out there, so little people just being themselves and things just happening, serendipitously. It's just everything is a skit or staged or faked for views, and it's frustrating for me because I think what makes things great is authenticity and people being genuine and people being themselves and things just happening and unfolding the way they're supposed to unfold. And I think in a world where everything feels like it's staged and feels like it's fake and feels like it's a production, I think that makes it harder for us to be ourselves, for us to be who we really are, because we feel we have to live up to some sort of expectation of something that's not even real. Like these skits and these reels and all this stuff that's online that people stage and make up for clicks and views. It sort of makes us, live in a shell. We sort of protect ourselves from putting ourselves out there. And I don't necessarily mean, you have to start making content for social media or your start making videos and pictures or sharing stuff or anything like that on social media. But I mean, in our daily lives, we feel like we can't be ourselves or we can't be authentic or genuine because there's something else out there that's more interesting. And that something else is usually something that's not real. It's not genuine. It's not, it's staged or it's fake or it's a skit. So people sort of like crawfish away from being themselves. And my opinion is we always, or I'll say we always, that's not, I don't like using the word always or never. So I try not to use always or never. But in society as a group, we get pulled in certain directions at certain times and trends change, and we get to a point where society goes in one direction until it reaches a breaking point, and then things sort of start to come back to the middle. And politics is a really good example of that. When we get pulled into a direction, we get pulled really, really hard to the right. And then we get pulled too far that way, things get too far out of balance, and then we start to get pulled back to the left, and things start to get normalized again until we get pulled back too far to the left, and then things start to come back. And this sort of just trends, and this process of things going too far one way and back to the other, there's this recoil. Like things always seem to come back to the middle and come back to be somewhere in the middle. It's not always in the middle, but it tends to be in the middle until things get too far one way, and then they come back, and then they get too far the other way, and then they come back. And my opinion is right now we have gotten so far away from being authentic and genuine with social media. I'm not a big fan of making predictions, but I do predict that we as a society, we've gone so far in this direction of this dead end road of artificial, fake skit, television scripts, social media. We've gone so far in this direction that there's going to be a rise in authenticity and people being genuine and people being themselves. And I don't know what that looks like. I don't know if that's going to come in the form of a different form of social media. I don't know if it's going to come in a form of fashion or art or whatever the case is. But we've gone so far in this direction of fake everything that I think we've gone so far in that direction that things will start coming back. So in my opinion, there is no better time than right now to be yourself, to be 100% who you are. And it may take time, just like I said, it took time from, me getting a dog, me being a selfish SOB, which I'm still a selfish SOB, just slightly less so. But me being completely 100% only caring about myself to the first day of me having a dog, it took a long time for me to get to the point where I try to put others and think of others before I think of myself. That's a process that you may have to go through. Is yes, you have been looking at the world. Oh, it's a train. You have been looking at the world in a way of how can I compete? How can I be heard? How can I be seen in this world of, tens of thousands of followers and millions of views and all these things? Like, how can I be seen? How can I be heard? How can I be an individual? How can I be important? I think we're going to steer away. So it's going to take you some time to get from this shell that you're in to your authentic self, to be your genuine self, to be 100% comfortable with who you are as a person. And like I said, that doesn't have to be posting on social media or pictures or reels or videos or anything like that, but you can be yourself throughout your everyday life. So I think that is going to come back. I think that's going to be on the rise. Again, I don't know in what form or what fashion, but like I said, there's never been a better time to be yourself, never been a better time to be authentic. There's never been a better time to start growing as a person and get back to being who you are, because you've probably, if you're like me, you've kind of built this wall around you of, I don't even know who to be because whoever I am isn't going to be as important as all these other people online. So start to think about how your life could be different if you were being authentic, if you were being genuine, if you were pursuing your dreams and goals and not looking at other people online and seeing what they're doing, because they're just going to pull you off track, because that's other people's dreams and goals have nothing to do with why you're here, why you were built, why you were designed, why you were put here. So spending too much time paying attention to fake nonsense isn't going to help you develop into the person that you were put here to be. So just start thinking about ways to put others first, and also start working your way out of the shell and being authentic and being genuine. And as you start to think about other ways to help people, you'll sort of find your path along the way, if that makes any sense. So and in a way, I can sort of tie this WIIFM thing into why I think Hallmark movies are pornography for women. Is this WIIFM concept is happened to me recently in relationships or friendships or people that I meet. It seems like when I meet people now, they're extremely impatient and they're very ready to put me in a box. Their expectation of me in a certain role, they have a predetermined role I should play in their life. And as soon as I don't fit into that box or fit into that role, they're pretty much done with me. And what I mean by that is, if someone comes up to me and they think I should say a certain thing or do a certain thing, and I don't do or say that certain thing, I get a negative reaction from this person. You know, there was a day and time, way back in the Stone Age before social media, we used to just take people as they came. We used to take people as individuals. Every single person was an individual, and we tried not to pass judgment on them based on their appearance or where they're from or the car that they drove or whatever the case is, or what they did for a living or anything like that. We took people as individuals. Every person was their own person. They had a name, they had a face, they had a story, they had challenges and difficulties just like we do. They have dreams and goals just like we do. And they had something to say, and we had something to learn from them. And it seemed like somewhere along the way we got lost in this, social media, TikTok-a-palooza and all this nonsense, that we don't take people as individuals anymore. It's like we have spent so much time on our phones in a pretend world that we have built these, predetermined structures and roles in our head, especially from watching television. Television's a big part of this too. We watch so much television that we think in real life that everybody's a role player. Everybody is a part of the script, and we're building this script in our head all by ourselves. We're building the script of how our life should unfold and who we want in our life and what role they should play and the things they should say and the things that they should do. And when we meet individuals, we're just trying to plug this person into this role, this already predetermined script that we've written for them, what they should look like, what they should say, what they should drive, what they should do for a living, how they should talk to us, how they should treat us. And we've already just built this in our head that this is this person, and I just need to take this body. I'm just going to take somebody off the street and I'm going to plug them in this role, and they're just going to do this thing. And that's just not how life works. And it doesn't work that way. And I feel like a lot of times when I'm meeting people, I'm starting to pay attention to where as I'm getting to know this person, or as I'm talking to this person. Sometimes it's in a business setting, like I said, sometimes it's a friendship or a relationship, but as I'm talking to this person, it's almost like I've got my antenna up, because I'm trying to figure out if this person even cares about me as an individual, it cares about me as a person, or if they're just trying to plug me into a role that they've already predetermined in their mind and their head that I should be playing. And I often find out very quickly early on that this person is trying to plug me into a role, and if I don't play the role, I get a negative reaction from this person. They will, treat me poorly, they'll, cut me off completely, or whatever the case is. I'll get a negative reaction from this person, or I'll start getting questioned. Oh, well, hey, you said this, or you said that. What does this mean, and what does this mean? As if I'm not allowed to have an opinion, as if I'm not allowed to have my own aspirations and dreams and goals. It's like they think I shouldn't think the way that I do, that I should think this way, and I should do things this way, and I should say things this way. And it's bizarre to me. It's unusual to me that we don't take people as individuals anymore. We take people off the street. We try to plug them into a role that we've created in our head. And I see this a lot. And I don't know why it's on my radar a lot recently, but I see it a lot. And it's just, I don't know, it's just kind of rubbing me the wrong way. I know I'm a difficult person. So if somebody does try to fit me into a role, I know I'm going to have a negative reaction to that. But it just seems like we don't take people for people anymore. We just take them as role players. We just take them as, just a bag of meat and bones that's supposed to play a role in this movie script that we've written or that we've downloaded from the internet or we've downloaded from television, that this person should just play this role. And to me, it's frustrating for me because I get in these situations and I see it a lot, especially in business or in relationships and friendships. This person's expecting me to do something, and I'm curious where their expectations are coming from. Like, this person should have no expectations of me, and I should have no expectations of them. And I'm not saying that I don't. I'll be the first to admit that I have expectations from people around me, and usually high expectations, because I want what's best for them. And if we're in a really good relationship, whether it's business or personal or anything, like, I want what's best for you. I want you at your best, because if you're at best, if you are at your best, then that's going to benefit me in some way. So that may be a selfish way to say it, but the reality is, if you're at your best and we're together in some way, work, if you're a customer, if you're a client, personal relationship, anything, if you are at your best, that's going to benefit me in some way. And if it doesn't, if you are at your best and you cut me off and I never see you again, I'm still happy for you that whatever it was that interacted between you and I, and you sparked and you took off and became the best person you've ever been, then I'm happy for you. That's good for you. So it's just crazy to me that we're in a situation where people will try to plug you into this role or try to plug you into this person that they've designed you to be, and if you don't fit into that thing, they'll cut you off. And like I said, I'm very much guilty of having high expectations for people, and when I don't meet people's expectations, their response to me, like I'm trying to think of an example. People will meet me and have expectations of me as a business owner, or as the guy that runs the mechanic shop, or the guy that runs a furniture store, or in a personal relationship or a friendship. Somebody will come and have some sort of expectation, and when I don't meet that expectation, like I said, I'm trying my best to not have any expectations of them at all. Of course, I want them to be a good person. I want them to be honest. I don't want them to be a thief or a liar. Those common human decency, like, I think we all sort of expect that, but I'm not trying to have any expectations of their behavior, what they should say, what they should do, what they should wear. And I am noticing that I'm not getting that reciprocated. I feel like a lot of people that I meet sort of have me in this box, and it's frustrating me, and I don't know if it's just a complex that I have now, that people are trying to shove me in a box and I don't like it. Like, I don't want to be controlled, or I don't want people to tell me what to do, or I don't want people to think I'm something that I'm not, or I don't want people to, or if I am something, I don't want people to know that I'm that. I don't know what it is that's bothering me about it, but that's the thing that I've noticed, that I'm not meeting people's expectations. And it's strange that I am struggling so much with seeing this recently. And like I said, it's probably a complex that I have, but maybe this is something that you've noticed. Maybe it's something that's going on in your life too, where you feel like as you're out and about through your daily life, that people are just trying to plug you into this role in your head, in their head, of this person that you're supposed to be. And I like I said, maybe it's just part of my nature, or it's in my blood, or whatever, but even part of being self-employed is like, I don't like being told what to do. I don't want to have rules. I don't want to have regulations. Like, I want the freedom to do whatever it is I want to do with my business or my time or whatever the case is. So if somebody comes in from the outside world and has these expectations on how I should spend my time, or what I should be doing, or when I should be doing it, I have a bad reaction to that. I'm like, hey, why do you expect me to do something different than what I'm already doing? And it gives me this feeling of, well, why is what I'm doing not enough? Why is it, and enough may not be the right word, but I feel like I'm doing all these things every day. I'm doing all these things every week, every month. I'm doing all these things, and you may think it's enough, but you may want me to do something different. I should be doing something different with my time. I should be doing something different with my money. I should be doing something different, and that leaves me with the feeling of not being enough, because I'm already doing all of this, but you want me to do something else. So it makes me feel like I'm not enough. Why can't I just be enough? Why can't I just be who I am and that be okay? Why can't I just be who I am and that's enough for you? So I know I said a lot, and I'm probably just, rambling and going on and on about the same thing, but I hope that I got most of what I was trying to say across, and maybe you can relate, maybe you can't. But why I think this, oh no, I'm running out of time. But why I think this is, in a sense, ties into why I think Hallmark movies is pornography for women, is because for me, like I'll just flat out tell you that I had to stop watching porn. I say I had to. I chose to. I wanted to. So I stopped watching pornography, and it was a good decision. Like, I'm glad I did. Like, I don't miss it. I don't think about it. Like, and it's I recommend it. So if you watch porn, I recommend stop. But I stopped for several reasons. But one of those reasons is that it's completely unrealistic. It's not reality. That's not how relationships go. That's not how a sexual relationship is with most couples. Okay, so there's some wild ones out there, but for the most part, that's not a healthy sexual relationship. That's not how sex usually is. So I had to stop watching porn because I say I had to. I shouldn't say had to. That's the wrong word. I chose to. I wanted to, because I had unrealistic expectations of how a woman should treat me in a sexual setting, and what should happen and how it goes. And it was completely unrealistic. So I was going into sexual relationships with these crazy expectations of how a woman should behave in that setting. So it dawned on me, like, hey, this is crazy. This is ridiculous. I shouldn't have these expectations of a stranger. Like, I should not expect them to do these things. Like, that's not realistic. And the truth of the matter is that if they can do most of those things, that's probably a bad sign, not a good sign. So it dawned on me, and it came to my mind. I'm like, hey, this is crazy. I got to stop doing this because this is not healthy. So now I try to take it a different path, and like I said, try to take my own advice and take people as they come, and not have these crazy expectations of what a woman should or should not do in a sexual relationship. And that, to me, is why I say Hallmark movies is like pornography for women, because maybe men watch Hallmark movies. I don't know. I'm not one of them, but whatever. I'm just using this as an example. So I'm trying to hope this doesn't sound sexist or whatever the case is. But I would believe that most of the time when someone's watching a Hallmark movie, they're probably a woman, and their husband's probably not in a room. Maybe he is, maybe he isn't, whatever. But as women watch these Hallmark movies, it seeps into their subconscious that this is the real world, that this is how things are going to be, that they're going to meet a man that's like these guys on television. And it's not true. It's the same as these guys, myself included, that watch porn and think that this is how women behave. And it's not true. It's not real. So when women are watching these Hallmark movies, they have this unrealistic expectation of what a man is and who a man should be, and how he's going to behave and how he's going to treat him, and his story and who he was and who he's becoming, and all these things, like the whole storyline. So they've got this guy built and designed in their head from watching all these Hallmark movies, and then they go out in reality and they go out into life and they meet a man, and they try to project their Hallmark script on this guy, and there's no way on earth he's ever going to make the connection. He's never going to be able to live up to those expectations. And it's the same thing for porn for guys. Like, if we go out into the world and we think all of our relationships with women are going to have any sort of this basis in reality, it's bizarre, it's crazy, like it's impossible. We're going to be let down every single time. And I feel like the same way about Hallmark movies, is women take these roles and these scripts and they try to project it on a man and project it on reality, and they're let down. They're like, oh, there's no good men out here. Like, What are you talking about? There's good men everywhere. I see good guys all the time. The planet is crawling with good guys. But if you're taking a Hallmark movie script and trying to find a guy to plug into that role, you're never going to be happy. You're never going to be satisfied. And the same thing goes for men with pornography. Like if you're living your life with the expectation that you're going to go meet somebody that's going to live up to this expectation, you're going to be disappointed. Your expectations are never going to be met, and you're going to be trying to just go out and meet another person to plug in and see if that fits. Another person, plug it in and see if that fits. And it goes for both sexes in both directions. One is physical for men and one is emotional for women. I know it's two completely different worlds, but it's the exact same thing. So I know I rambled a whole lot. None of that probably made any sense, but that's okay. You know, like I said, I make these for me because it's fun, and I like to watch and pay attention and listen and learn, and hopefully I can go back to this at some point in the future and get a good laugh. I didn't make it to the presidential debate. We're out of time. I really appreciate you guys for listening, watching, paying attention. Thanks for the feedback. I love you guys, and we'll see you later. Bye.